Hey friends, I'm Marc Estes, President and CEO of VisitorReach. And if you're watching this, you care deeply about people and the future of your church. So today I want to just talk to you about some proven step-by-step plans, really of what we can do to turn our first-time guests into fully engaged members of our spiritual family. And this isn't just a theory, it's working in churches of every size and every city. And studies show us that most first-time guests, they decide within the first 10 minutes if they'll come back to your church. That's long before a note is sung or a sermon's preached. And I know that isn't going to sit well with a lot of you preachers listening, but sadly, it's really true. But here's one thing we can all agree upon, that every guest represents a soul God has personally entrusted to our care. And in a culture hungry for belonging, the way that we welcome people matters more than ever. So let's just chat about 6 simple steps that you can do. Number 1 is build a welcoming culture. See, the first step isn't a program, it's a mindset. You got to be asking yourself, what does a guest experience the moment they drive onto your lot? Pew Research tells us this, that 70% of people looking for a church saying that being warmly welcomed is the top reason for their return. So hospitality has to start in your parking lot. Like, make sure that you have a place for people to park. And if you really want to make an impact, place roaming greeters out there in your parking lot so that people are greeted as they get out of their car. And you might even train them to help young families or single parents and elderly with any challenges that they may be facing as well. And then once they get into your lobby, train every team member to make eye contact and say, "We are glad you're here." Don't underestimate the power of a handshake or even an occasional high five. I love what Carey Nieuwhof said. He says this, every Sunday is someone's first Sunday. So if your whole church owns that vision, that conviction, guests are going to feel that immediately. I also wanted to let you know that I developed a guest ministry checklist, and it can be used by your team to assess every area of your church. And I believe this to be a fantastic tool that identifies areas that need improvement. And so if you're interested in checking that out, you could read more about it on our blog page at visitorreach.com/blog. But here's the second thing. Second thing is this, is your welcome center. See, your welcome center, I call it the front door for questions and connections. And the goal is not just to answer a question, but really to connect every person that comes there to someone somewhere. So it's imperative that we make it easy to find a central spot in your lobby. And of course, staff it with your absolute best, your friendliest people, not just someone looking for a place to serve. And make sure that you've resourced them with every answer that may be asked and how to be able to resource them with the most important things that will help connect them to kind of these life-giving relationships. And so there's a few ways that you can make this happen. You can go old school and manually gather information and input that into your existing follow-up process. Or you could actually use tap technology to seamlessly and immediately connect them, maybe to someone to ensure that they don't fall through the cracks. And I love this. It's just with one tap, guests can fill out a digital connect card. They can sign up for a group or a place to serve. Maybe it's an event, or maybe even it's to get involved in some kind of a next step class, right? And so churches that are using Visitor Tap, which is a product we have, they're seeing significant increase in first-time guests in the information that's being captured. So if you have any interest in finding out how we can help you in this area, we'd love to do that. Just go to visitortap.com and give us a call, and we'll do a free call for you. But here's the key. It is about people, not just process. Never let tech, never let systems or processes replace a handshake or a smile. So here's number 3. Kids ministry. We have to win the family, and we've got to win the future. Barna Research says this, that 49% of first-time guests say that their main reason for attending is their kids, meaning that parents are going to drive across town from a great distance if their kids will have a great kids experience, even if they're unsure about the services or about your church themselves. So make your kids' ministry, make the check-in safe, make it simple, make it secure, do whatever it takes to avoid the long lines, and have energetic, passionate volunteers that are going to just serve your kids well. And most importantly, highlight your kids' ministry in everything that you do at the Welcome Center, and most importantly, from the stage. You want to let parents know that you're not babysitting, but that you're building the next generation. Number 4 is this: greet your guests in the service, not just a casual pass by, but I mean really greet them and make them feel like a VIP. And maybe here's something that you could say. Here's an example. Hey, today, we just like to greet everybody here that's new today. And if you're new, we truly are so glad that you're here. And we hope that you feel welcomed and that you feel loved. And there's one thing that we love to do, and that's to pray for people. And if you're anything like us, you're facing challenges. And so we would love to come alongside of you and pray for you because you matter to us and you matter to God. So if you just give us your name and your number and your email, how we can pray for you, we'll reach out and we'll give you a call. And you're going to be really surprised that the increase of people that come in and give you information, because what you're doing is you're now expressing your genuine interest to engage them and to be involved in their life where they need it most. And here's a real important follow-through point. If you promise to pray, then pray. Have a team member, a volunteer, a staff member, call them up and pray. You're going to find that real care leads to real connection. Once again, listen, this is where Visitor Tap can come in. Like the Unstuck group said that churches that use Tap in their services to connect see guest return rates jump from 10% to nearly 50%. And I think that this is a real important process that you could implement as well. Number 5 is follow-up. Like move them from visiting to belonging. Like the days right after their first visit are crucial. Follow up within a 24 to 48 hour window is so key. And studies have proven to us that a text is your absolute best option. In fact, Pew Research states that 90% of texts that you send are read within 3 minutes. And that guests that receive an email are much less likely. In fact, it's 7 more times that they're going to read your text and respond than an email. And so maybe here's just a simple text for you to consider. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining us Sunday. We are so glad that you came. Is there any questions you might have? How can we pray for you? And see, what we have found is that if you end every text with a question, people are much more likely to respond. But you don't want to stop there, right? You need to make this a journey. And one of the things that we do at VisitorReach, one of our secret sauce techniques, is to help churches build a 15-month connection plan. We want friendly check-ins, texts, emails, prayers, invites. Like we want to make sure that people know that they matter to us. And most importantly, they just don't want to be a number. They want to be known. And I love, here's what Craig Rochelle says about this. He says, to reach people that no one else is reaching, you'll have to do things that no one else is doing. And last, number 6 is next steps in discipleship. You see, the end goal isn't attendance, it's life transformation. And this really requires that you and your team, that you sit down and you make sure that you have an effective discipleship pathway that makes it easy for every person that walks through the door of your church to become an active, healthy, reproducing disciple of your church. And so it's got to start with some kind of a next step and to build a pathway. Maybe that's a monthly lunch or a class that you offer during or after your service. Maybe there's some kind of online sign up, but you've got to get them into a next step. But once you get them there, move them into groups where life-giving community can happen. This is as important as a step as the first step. Help them find a place to serve. Steward them and help them understand how they can grow by giving and by being discipled. And most important, develop a process where people are growing in the word and prayer and spiritual maturity. And it's so important that we do that. And so, pastor, listen, leader, The harvest is now. And every guest that comes our way, they're a gift from God. And so let's be faithful stewards with whom God puts in our hand. And your takeaway today, this week, is assess the process, right? Determine where can we be warmer, or where can we be faster or more relational, maybe more intentional, and then find a couple ways that you can win this week and continue to refine everything that you do. And let's believe together for new growth. Let's believe for deeper connections, that lives are going to be changed one guest at a time. And so I just say this, God bless you as you welcome, as you love, and as you disciple the people that God sends your way. And let's go give them heaven.